Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. I absolutely love it when we get viewers this early in on the podcast, jumping on and listening. For those of you that are already here, welcome to this episode of Her Version. The Her Version platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Carin Andresen. Carin was raised in a conservative home with the mindset of being seen and not heard. Lacking confidence, she went out into the world, learning how to overcome setbacks, learning how to be a mother, and adapting to all the changes that came her way. She believes you are never too old to grow or to pivot. With a passion of making everyone feel and look like the best version of themselves, Carin specializes in face yoga, and she is excited to share some awesome parts of her journey with us and explore all the things she's learned along the way. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Sabrina. So excited to be here and being able to share my story.
Yes,
It's wonderful.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. And you are coming from, where are you coming from?
Originally, I grew up in the north of Germany, and I'm funnily in the house right now where I was brought up. So it's just, I've done a whole turnaround, and this is just amazing. I sometimes can't believe it myself, how life, it just takes in funny cycles. So I was raised up here, and it's still very conservative, very old-fashioned, and small-minded, really. So when I was born in 1965, so my parents moved into this house, I think I was a couple of years old. And as I say, it was kind of still under the mindset, you grow up, you marry a local, you just do one job, you stay in one job until you retire, because it's very safe and very secure. You have a couple of children, and then that's basically your life. You retire, and that's it. And it was kind of funny. From a very young age, I thought, I don't really kind of belong here. It was a great childhood. It was out in the forest. It was small, but I knew there was so much more out there. And I was always interested in the world of beauty and health, which kind of wasn't this area at all whatsoever. So I kind of told my parents, and after finishing high school, I went to beauty school, and I did my training there, trained as a qualified beauty therapist. And then I had no confidence, really, because what you said before, we were seen and not heard. And I come from a very academical background, a lot of doctors in my family, and I wasn't academical. I was never going to university. I knew that. So I felt very insecure about that. So after being a trained beauty therapist, I started doing some modeling, because I was young, very beautiful. So I did the local contest in this area to get more self-confidence. And that, after that, initially then took me to Milan and Hong Kong. So being an international model was, of course, very glamorous, interesting, vibrant. But then I realized it was kind of the flavor of the month, or the flavor of the day. If you had blonde hair, if you were tall, skinny, dark. And I was very shallow and superficial, and I didn't like that anymore. So I ended up in New Zealand. I wanted sort of a clean, green, natural way of life. And there is, with the help of my father, who's a scientist, I did a whole range of products, skincare products, because with modeling, I had a lot of skin rashes and so on. My skin reacted really badly. So we developed that range, and I incorporated that with seeing my clients doing beauty treatments and so on. And that was amazing. That was really, really successful. I loved it. But then Christchurch, I don't know if you heard about it, in the south of New Zealand, the earthquake hit 2010, 2011.
Wow.
I experienced 2 earthquakes, and which basically it destroyed the whole city. And I was going at that stage, I was going through menopause, and I wasn't very happy. I just didn't really know what to do with my life anymore. And I could also see it would take a long time to rebuild the city before it's vibrant as it is. So I married a New Zealander, by the way, and I got a daughter. And I thought I'd just go back to Europe. I go to Berlin. I've never really been to Berlin. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have a job there, but to me, it sounded like a very cosmopolitan, interesting, international city. So I found the right school for my daughter to do her IB, International Baccalaureate. So because she's bilingual, I raised her being bilingual, German and English, because she was born in New Zealand. And then after that, she went to school there, and then she decided to go back to New Zealand, where her dad lives. And that broke my heart. That was very, very difficult. She was the only child, and I wasn't sure if I'm going to stay or if I go back with her. I was very torn. What is the right thing to do? Anyway, I decided to stay because she wanted to move down south, and I couldn't face the fact moving into the house where I raised her and where I brought her up. And then a couple of years later, she developed meningitis in New Zealand and nearly died.
Wow.
And I think together with the earthquakes moving across the world and everything, it just made me realize, my God, life is just so short.
Yeah.
And I think in the sense, I went then to the south of India for some healing and to recover really from it all. And I experienced Ayurveda, the beauty of Ayurveda, health and well-being. And there was just so much gratitude that she survived, because the girl before her died of meningitis. And I think she was going into the hospital already unconscious, blue in the face, because they kind of knew what to do. They had to act extremely fast to save her life. And I think, that's just completely, together with the earthquakes, changed my life and made me look far more inside. So what can we do to heal, and inner beauty comes out. And then, as I say, I stayed in Berlin. I got a job. I was fine. And then, of course, 2020, when COVID hit and Corona, we couldn't really work that well. And I just came across facial yoga. And the more I read about it, the more I dived into it, the more I thought, this is my calling. This is what I want to do. It just fits, because there's so much about breathing and exercises, mindfulness, lifestyle, self-love. Yes. So that's kind of the story, more or less.
How long did you model for?
I modeled, I think, on and off until I was about 28.
Wow, no kidding. Was that really heavy on your entire body image?
Yeah, it was. Although I'm lucky, I'm 6'1" and I'm very skinny naturally, so I've never had a problem with weight. So there wasn't for me. It was more it was just so superficial. Yeah. And I didn't. Although when I was younger, it sort of gave me briefly confidence. But as you get older, as you know, it's just, it changes so quickly, and real inner beauty comes from within.
Yeah, definitely. Where do you get your height from, mom or dad's side?
I am dad, Northern German, near the Dutch border.
That's so cool. Wow. I I would love to hear as far as, obviously you've been through a whirlwind of all sorts of things, as you stated throughout your journey. I'd like to talk for a moment about the biggest challenge that you think you had throughout your life and what you learned from that challenge.
I think the biggest challenge was to adjust to different lives, really, that I had throughout my life, and overcome the narrowness and of growing up in a small world. That was probably the biggest challenge, and being open to doing new stuff and having the confidence to do so.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's probably an issue that a lot of individuals kind of deal with. How did you deal with that as far as picking up and just pivoting?
I think I just wanted to be open. I wanted to learn and I wanted to grow no matter what. I think I was always being curious what's out there,
So a lot of
and
people never leave their hometown. So how is
I
it
know.
that you were all over the place, moving around, checking out new things, exploring? Do you think that was handed down to you, or think that's just innately in you?
I think it was a bit in me, and
Wow.
the older I got, the more I wanted to explore and to find out. So age never stopped me. I mean, I was close to 50 when I went to Berlin,
Wow.
not having a job with a suitcase, not knowing what I'm going to do. I looked after my daughter. I knew she had a school there, but I had no idea if I could make it, or,
Wow.
or if I would find my own feet. And so I think I just always been extremely curious, and I just want to inspire everyone. You're never too old to do so. Do not let age stop you
Yeah.
from learning and growing.
Yeah, there's always all these stories that you hear sometimes of people being like, all I had was $400 and I moved cross country. I'm like, what is going
Mhm.
on? I always view that as so courageous, like what
Yeah,
an adventurous mindset to be at a point, whether you have money or not have money, but just to like go with not necessarily a plan and
correct.
just trusting yourself, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
trusting yourself and trust the universe,
Yeah.
that you're going to be fine, and be open and accept help, and just, yeah. And I think actually openness has got a lot to do with it. Coming to think about, I was always being curious and I was open to learn things. And I mean, the same when I went to the south of India, never been to India before, by
Wow.
myself, not knowing what is going to happen there. I was open. I was open. I wanted to learn. I wanted to grow. I just, and I guess in some ways I was lucky as well. I met so many amazing people, interesting people. I mean, I went there on a holiday and I ended up having a job there in a health resort, learning all about Ayurveda, yoga, and well-being. So I didn't plan for that. I didn't expect that. It was just like kind of, I met this guy. I mean, he was 20 years younger than me. We had a coffee after yoga class. He told me his plans and he looked at me and he said, would you be interested in being there, helping me? And I said, yeah, sure. Not thinking I would never hear from him again. So I gave him my phone number. I thought that was it. 3 months later, he rings me up and he says, are you still keen? Come on over. And I said, sure. So it's kind of that's what I mean. And I think if you're open and if you're willing, and then you'll be fine. You be honestly.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. Why India? Why did you decide to go to India?
A friend of mine who unfortunately now has passed away, I've always been interested into yoga, and you know, yoga comes from India, a lot from India. So he just said to me, why don't you go to India? I think you would like it. And I thought, God, I was in my 50s, and I thought, yeah, I've been thinking about that for a long time. It's about time to do something about it. And I read a lot about the south of India, and what I read, it's kind of, I really, really liked. And when I arrived there, I was totally blown away. You know, the simplicity of it all, and the people, the kindness and the support. It was amazing.
Wow,
Yes.
that's fantastic. I had a question at the tip of my tongue. I don't remember.
It's okay.
Obviously, with the modeling, and saying that at a point you started to realize that, it was sort of shallow, and that you wanted to learn more, and mindset, personal development, emotional intelligence. What kind of set that off? How did you kind of fall into coaching, or this alternative way of thinking?
I think what really said it was tragedy. I really do believe that the earthquakes and then nearly losing my daughter made me really realize what does matter to me, what is really important in life, what do I really, really want to do, what is my true passion. And I think, it was probably always there, even when I was younger, and well-being, helping people. But the older I got, the more it came out. And as I say, through all of that, that's what I mean. It's about, you're never too old. So
Yeah,
let that stop you. I think it's really, I mean, as much as I hated going through all of that at the time,
yeah,
obviously, yeah, I think it just really, yeah, as I say, made me realize, what do I really want to do,
definite,
now on.
definitely. Yeah. Um, to those people who maybe aren't too keen on personal development, or maybe don't know about it, why do you think it's important?
Um, I think especially as we get older, we kind of become very a bit lazier thinking about what can we do. We just feel this is enough. I've done it. And I don't think that you ever can say that you've done it. I think also it keeps you young, to think openly and to change things, and yeah, and to grow and learn. It just really does, and it makes you happy. It makes you happy, and if you feel the success, and yeah, I think that feeling, definitely give it a try. That's what I always say.
Definitely. The biggest issue that I have seen a lot, as far as just humans in general, not even necessarily females, but just humans, is, an individual coming to a turning point in their life, and they start to realize, like, hey, I want to do things differently. I'm tired of being in the darkness. I'm tired of being in victimhood. I'm tired of all these challenges, all these struggles, not knowing how to mentally overcome them. But the struggle happens with when they actually see that, realize there's a different way of doing things, and then taking the steps from here to there. In
Yes.
your journey of everything that you've pivoted through and gone through, and ups and downs, using your own journey as maybe an example, what would be like the first couple of steps, or first few steps that you take when you are going from maybe a struggle or a challenge into a better place mentally and emotionally?
Okay, feel that struggle, be really totally honest with yourself,
Yeah.
and face it, and say it is how it is, but don't try not to dwell on it too long. Live in the now, but only in the now, and tomorrow and the week is another time. So acknowledge it, take it with you, but as I say, don't dwell on it, because if we dwell and keep on repeating and we're in that space constantly, you will not be able to grow and move forward.
Yeah. What do you think is a good amount of time for that?
I think we all very different, of course. So it all depends what it is. I think it depends a bit, if you're just unhappy in general in your life, I think just look at it. What are the things that you're unhappy with? Again, it all comes a lot of people I really don't think are honest within themselves. And that is where I think a lot of people go wrong. Look at it. Just be careful that you don't stay in that space too long. A lot of people go through and they moan and groan and they're so unhappy and they think why people turn away because they can't hear it anymore. Here she comes again with the same story and things like that. So I do believe take a certain time, but don't overdo it. Don't take too long. And it's really hard to say. I would hate to say, oh, it will take a week, a month, or a year. I don't know. And I think in my case, reflecting on my life, I would like to fast forward a little bit and would have done things a lot faster now, knowing what I know. But it didn't happen then, and so. Yeah, it just all depends. It depends too on the support you're having. I think that makes a difference. I've done a lot on my own with no support, but other people, if they do have support, they move a little bit faster, just take it if it's in front of you and it feels right to you. That's always what I would say.
Yeah, I like the fact that you're saying, now looking back, you would have moved a little bit quicker, because I think that's a good acknowledgement for people who are in something right now, to realize that we're almost giving them permission.
Yes.
To kind of move past it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sometimes people need that.
Yes, I think so too. But also, I think, you've got to be very honest, and some people are not ready, and to be pushed into something, it's got to come from your heart.
Yeah.
And it's got to be very true to yourself, and not because someone is saying that should be better for you or you should be doing that, because it will never be the same. And I realized, a lot of things that I did, I had to feel it, I had to experience, I had to go through it, I had to suffer it, I had to take my time. So but so we as I say, we're all so different.
Yeah, and we all digest things at different rates.
Yes.
Too.
Totally.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things about this podcast and the platform here is, hearing so many stories. I think it gives strength, knowing
Absolutely.
that other women also went through it, very similar stories, and then them realizing like, oh wow, Carin's saying she wished she would have done it just a little bit sooner. I wonder what my story would look like if I just cut this out,
Exactly.
and just move past it a little bit sooner.
Here I am. I only started. I did my course, my training, 2020, becoming a certified facial yoga instructor. Absolutely loved it. It took me a year to practice on myself and to have the confidence to teach other people, because I knew it works and I knew how good it is. And it's very well known, but the confidence of getting friends and then going online. Oh my God, I've never done things online. So I had to go really back to New Zealand last year, finding out that there's no one teaching facial yoga there locally. And I knew I would want to move back there. So I'm just in the middle of doing that. I'm leaving on the 22nd of April. So for me, it took that to do the step to actually do something online. And though I have no idea really, but the desire, the passion of doing that. I needed that push. It is kind of so interesting. And people kind of think, oh, why didn't you do it straight away? Don't wait until when you finish a course, you really like something, just don't procrastinate. Do it straight away. I couldn't. It wasn't ready. I was not ready to do it. And I knew if I would have done it, it wouldn't have been good. It didn't feel right. So here we go. And then you can say, oh, maybe I wasted a year. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. But I'm here now.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Exactly. What's the number one lesson you've learned from your life?
I think the number one lesson would be to be confident. Be confident, love yourself, and don't be so hard on yourself. Just be kind. Be kind to yourself and know you will do it. You will make it.
Definitely.
Because I didn't do that when I was a child. When I was a young woman, I just didn't. I wanted to be with outer beauty and having the applause from other people to feel my comment. But it's really within ourselves. If you work on that, you will radiate it to other people, and people will notice that. And that, I think, it's just the biggest.
How old were you when you think you figured that out?
I think, to be honest, a few years ago.
Yeah. But that's what this whole podcast is about. That's your whole message that you're preaching, is you're never too young or too old. You can pivot at any time.
Absolutely. So,
and actually, never too young too. Never too young and never too old.
Never too old. That's my motto to start facial yoga when people ask me that. Absolutely. You're never too young and you're never too old.
Yeah.
And this is why when I came across it, it just fit. It was me. My name was on it. I just had to do it. So cool. Yeah.
Just listening to this gives me so much inspiration as far as my future, because a lot of times, we get stuck in these mindsets of we have to do everything right now. And I look at you, you still look so young. Like, you look like you're 40, like I wouldn't have guessed anything over that. So just hearing your story, hearing all the things that you've done between 40 and now, is so inspirational, realizing that we still have so much time to do so many things.
Absolutely. That's exactly. And that's why it never stopped me, because I'm sure when I was in my late 40s and I went to Berlin, that people kind of thought, my God, don't you think she's a bit too old to be doing that? Not knowing that, leaving her home behind, packing up, a big house in New Zealand, moving into a 68 square meter flat with my daughter and a couple of suitcases. Would that be the right thing to do at that age? I'm sure that thousands of people thought that, and thinking maybe she's got a bit mad or something. It's honestly, it's one of the best things I've ever did, because it looking back now, it did take such a long time to rebuild the city where I'm going to return to now. If I would have stayed, I knew I would have wasted time. So I wanted then to move forward. I mean, I spent a few years there looking at it all. So, and I also did it because I knew, who knows, can I still do it in my mid 50s, 60s? Maybe not. So you become more aware. It's no panic, but also be aware. Yes, I'm at that age. Yes, I still got that energy. Yes, I can still do it. I feel good within myself. Do it. Just don't let that stop you.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I'm wondering what one of your, as you've grown, when you were a little bit younger, what was one of the limiting beliefs that you had, and what do you believe now?
A limiting belief was that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good
Really?
enough. Yeah, I
You kind
wasn't
of
good
mentioned
enough
that, yeah.
because I wasn't very academically. I didn't go to university. I don't have a very logical brain. I've got more emotional intelligence, and that is just not there anymore. I don't really care. I don't even care if people really like me or not. I am who I am. I'm being authentic. And I think when I was younger, I certainly wanted to people that believe that people like me, everyone liked me. I wanted to be liked, I wanted to be loved. And I think now that's fine. I'm fine. I love myself. I'm really, really happy within myself. I'm very pleased and proud what I've achieved and what I've overcome in my life, and that the tragedies that I faced with didn't make me bitter or hard or totally closed up. They're all there, and they're wounds, and they're big things that happen, but that I can talk about it, I can acknowledge them, and I can move on, and I can be whoever I want to be. And
Yes.
that is something that is great. That's really exciting.
Yeah. How do you think that Viewpoint has impacted your daughter?
I think she's very proud of me. She said to me the other day, I think when I first started talking about facial yoga and what I wanted to do, I think she said, my God, facial yoga, what is that? And, how are you going to do it? And how are you going to make money doing that? And things like that. And I said, oh, I'll work it out. It will happen. And then I sort of told her, and we were talking about the podcast, and I think she's thinking, oh my God, it is kind of working, or something is happening.
That's awesome. How old is she, by the way? I forgot.
She's 23.
23. Wow.
Yes, she's in Auckland. She's in New Zealand. Last year at university, and she works, and she's amazing. She's fantastic. She's
That's
very,
awesome.
very beautiful, and I'm so proud of her. She's done very, very well.
Is she also tall?
Not quite as tall as me, but she is tall. Yes. Yeah.
Cool. I would love to take a moment real fast to acknowledge the individuals that are here watching us live, supporting you and your story and the Her Version platform. So thank you so much for those of you that are hanging out with us and listening in to the storyline here. For those of you that are possibly catching us on the replay, and you're at this point in Carin's story, we appreciate you being here. Make sure you hashtag replay so that we know that you're here, and we can send you some love to whichever platform you're on. I would love to talk about your business, your yoga, your coaching, what you do, how you help other humans.
Well, I sort of started it, as I say, I've always been, after I finished beauty school and did my training and I went to New Zealand, I always liked helping people. So this business now, Face Yoga New Zealand, is basically, I've got a website that you can see. I work a lot on Facebook, and people come to me. They come to me because I think I'm not desperate for it. I talk about what I love and how I teach it. I teach it a little bit differently. I teach it on Zoom calls once a week over a month with a personal approach. So it's kind of very personalized. I do develop a program for each woman. We address lifestyle, aging habits, basic things like, do you drink enough water? Do you sleep enough? Do you sleep well? How's your nutrition? So it's an overall approach. So I get very personal with the whole well-being thing, because that is very important to me. Because if you got poor posture and if you're unhappy, it will show in your face. We show so many emotions in our faces, so it's really important to work on your mindset. And because I do that, I think people start craving again this personal touch. I mean, we live in a very digital world, and it's amazing. Here you are in the States, here I am in Germany, and we can do all this, but it can be also quite lonely for women. So instead of an app, I just adjust poses, I add a few poses on, and basically get feedback, and they record it. And I want women to integrate facial yoga for the rest of their lives.
What are the benefits of it? What does it help with?
It certainly helps with breathing, with mindset, positive affirmations, because you self-love. And of course, the poses you do, it's massage techniques, acupressure points, exercises. It really does help with wrinkles and big nasolabial folds. It uplifts basically your face. I mean, we've got 57 muscles in our faces that we either over or underuse. And a lot of people are so focused on their body, body yoga, body exercise, that we forget about our faces. So you basically work with the muscle. So you release tension. When people have a lot of tension in their jawline, they clench their teeth. So you can, with acupressure points, release all that naturally. So I like to think about it natural Botox. It does take longer than injecting Botox, but it certainly, if you practice it daily, 10 to 15 minutes a day. And I always say to all my clients, it's very important to do pictures before and after in the same light, preferably same distance. And there's a big difference, difference, without filters before and after. So you certainly, it softens lines, uplifts, and as we age, gravity takes over, everything holds down. So you do a lot of upward movements and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Sounds relaxing.
It is.
It sounds kind of like a self-made DIY facial.
Absolutely does. Yeah. And it, as I say, it's a little bit deeper because you work with the muscles. And I love that it doesn't take that long, because everyone is so busy. We're so busy and everyone thinks, oh God, when I exercise my body, it's another hour or 90 minutes gone. Well, facial yoga, 10 to 15 minutes, no longer. You need to do that daily, and you can do it while you go to the bathroom. We all have to go to the bathroom. You can do some poses while you put your moisturizer on. I mean, people can put their moisturizer on and lie down, or uplifting. There is so many things you can easily integrate it, and it's not difficult to learn. It's not complicated. I make it very simple.
That's awesome. What's your ideal client age? Is this who's normally attracted to you?
It is really, really funny. It's been, I've had women at the age between 40 and 60, 65. And last week, I had a young girl, my daughter's age, approaching me. She wants to learn it. She wants to prevent. And I think it's awesome. I think it's so cool that she does. Because I said to her, my God, pictures before and after with skin like hers, you will not see much of a difference. But she does it for her mindset, and because she wants to learn. She's curious and she wants to learn it for later in life. And I think it's fantastic. So again, you're never too young to do that.
That's great. What about male clients? Have you had a male client yet?
Not yet, but I'm open for that. That's absolutely fine. Men age.
We got to get some men on the bandwagon. They age too.
Exactly.
Yes, you men out there who are listening in, you're also getting wrinkles.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And there's so many men now do facials and look after their skin, and I'm more than happy also to teach men. As I say, there's no factor where I say yes. Often it is women when gravity sets in from their 30s, they notice more things, and
Yeah.
they still think facial yoga is just an outside only. It's only for wrinkles, or it's only. But as I say, I strongly believe there's so much more to it than that.
Yeah. I see huge differences in my face, even over just the last year, and I think a lot of it is also, I pay attention to my face a lot because of this. So I'm
Yes.
constantly staring at myself. So it's really easy to get hypercritical, but definitely, as between like 30s and 40s, there's some differences in the pores and the sagging and everything that goes along with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
for
does. And I think it's so nice if you can do it naturally. I feel when I was in my late 30s, I did a little bit of Botox and hyaluronic acid, and the Botox I didn't really like so much the effect of it. I mean, you couldn't see any lines when someone smiled, and it kind of just looked a bit strange.
Yeah.
So there was another thing. By the way, you can do facial yoga as well after you have had Botox and hyaluronic acid. You just have to wait a couple of weeks, and it prolongs the effects of the fillers.
Oh,
It
nice.
just does. So it shouldn't stop women that are listening now, oh, because I've had Botox or because I can't be doing facial yoga. Yes, you can do very well
Oh, that's so
together.
cool. Good to know. Good to know. What does success mean to you?
Happiness, fulfillment, satisfaction, I would say. Don't know exactly, but it it makes me happy if I can help people, support people, and make a difference.
Definitely.
That is success to me.
Yeah.
The other day when I had a client and a woman, and I start with shoulder rolls because, I mean, if you want to work on the lower part of your face, often you get tight shoulders or a tight neck. And we were doing some exercises, and she said to me, "Oh my God, it really has made a difference. I can move my head a bit further, than I could before." That made me incredibly happy. That was meant for me that I was successful. It's just the small things in life mean so
Definitely.
much. Mm.
Definitely. Speaking to the females who are listening here live or possibly on the replay, who are going through some stuff, going through some struggles, going through some darkness, maybe having trouble finding their authentic selves, what would be some advice you'd give to them in closing?
Um, Let it all out. Be honest. Um, Feel the pain and let it be there. Acknowledge it and put it somewhere, and then move on. Take that as an experience to be stronger and to grow and to learn. And to say that's all part of things we have to go through, because where there's darkness, there's light.
Yeah.
And without light, there's no darkness. So just trying to work through it and take time, take time and trying to be kind to yourself and feel loved and do self-love. If you don't have friends, if you feel alone, treat yourself. Be good.
Definitely. For those that want to learn more about you, I'm assuming your website has all your information.
Yes,
Okay. So
definitely.
website is
Otherwise, you will find it. Yeah.
okay. So website is right above her face box right there. Do you have social media on that? Can they find you
Yes,
on Facebook? Okay.
definitely. I've Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I've got a face yoga page, New Zealand, and a YouTube channel. So you find me in all the
awesome. So those of you listening in, make sure you check out that awesome website, learn some more about some face yoga. Contact her if it's something that you're interested in or have more questions about. Definitely something that's needed, especially as we're getting older and you're integrating mindset into that, which is just absolutely phenomenal. Do you have any closing thoughts before we close up? This has been great.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it has been so much fun. No, not really. I think I kind of said it all.
Yes. Yes. Well,
Just,
thank you so much for those of you that are listening now and hanging out with us for almost an hour here. We appreciate you being here and supporting us and taking some time out of your day to listen in. For those of you that are watching on the replay, like I said, make sure you hashtag replay so we know that you were here. I want to thank everyone so much, including Carin, for joining us here on Her Version. This community is expanding every single day and is filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you have a story to share, make sure you reach out to me or at the website herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others